Imagine a world where a mysterious virus spreads like wildfire, turning people into something far worse than death. Civilization collapses, and only a few survivors remain. Today, I'll show you the best post-apocalyptic movies and series where a virus brought the world to its knees. Watch until the end. The final title is an absolute gem you don't want to miss. Light of My Life. This film doesn't scream, doesn't rush, just quietly, slowly breaks your heart. 2019's Light of My Life is a moving post-apocalyptic drama set in a world where a mysterious plague has decimated the female population. Men rule, chaos grows, and women have become rare and targeted. In this world, a father wanders with his daughter, whom he must hide by pretending she is a boy. Each day is not only a struggle for survival, but also for innocence, identity, and intimacy in a world that has long ceased to be safe. The film focuses on emotion, minimalism, and the relationship between two people who only have each other. Light of My Life is not a classic tale of the end of the world. It's a quiet, intimate story about a parent's love that becomes a shield against what's left of humanity. Only. Imagine a world where any trace of you could mean a death sentence, just because you're a woman. Only from 2019 is an intimate post-apocalyptic drama set in the aftermath of a global epidemic of a mysterious virus. It infects only women, making them the final target of a desperate struggle for survival, control, and power. The main characters, Will and his partner Eva, are hiding from a world that has turned into a paranoid hunting ground. For Will, there are no boundaries anymore. He will do anything to save his beloved, even if it means locking her inside four walls. The film focuses on relationships, freedom, and the fine line between protection and entrapment. Only is a poignant and suspenseful story about a world where love can save or destroy. The Rain. This series shows that the end of the world can come not in fire and bang, but in calm, quiet rain. The Rain is a Danish post-apocalyptic thriller in which a deadly virus spreads through precipitation, turning Scandinavia into a wasteland. At the center of the story are siblings Simone and Rasmus, who, after years in a bunker, come to the surface and discover that the world as they knew it has ceased to exist. Together with other survivors, they try to survive, avoiding not only the contagion, but also people willing to do anything to survive. Tension grows with each episode, and the mystery of the virus turns out to be more complex than anyone could have guessed. The Rain is a story of loss, struggle, and the thin line between hope and desperation, where any rain could be the last. To the Lake. Some ends of the world are loud and violent. This one came quietly, with fever and coughing. To the Lake is a Russian post-apocalyptic series that shows how quickly civilization can collapse when a deadly epidemic breaks out. Moscow is plunged into chaos, the streets become empty, and people struggle for life and food. A group of bystanders, family, neighbors, ex-partners, head north, hoping to find refuge away from the city. But the virus is not the only threat. Fear, mistrust, violence, and group tensions prove as dangerous as the plague itself. The series mixes raw survival with emotional drama, confronting the characters with the question, can humanity be preserved when the world has long forgotten it? To the Lake is a cold, unforgiving, and painfully realistic story about an end that can start anywhere. Domain. Have you ever thought what would happen if you were locked underground for years with strangers and only one screen connecting you to the world? 2016's Domain is a dark sci-fi thriller set after a global outbreak of a deadly virus. To save a select few, the government places them in isolated escape pods. Each lives alone, able only to communicate via a special video platform with other survivors. Initially, this provides a substitute for community and hope. But when one of the participants disappears without a trace, everything begins to fall apart. Questions arise. Who really controls the system, and does the world outside really still exist? Domain is a psychological, claustrophobic thriller about trust, the illusion of freedom, and the limits of human endurance. 12 Monkeys. This series doesn't ask if it's possible to save the world, it shows how terrible trying to fix it can be. 12 Monkeys is an elaborate, suspenseful science fiction story based on the 1990s cult film that takes us to the future after a pandemic that nearly destroyed humanity. James Cole, one of the survivors, is sent to the past to stop the virus outbreak and dismantle a mysterious organization known as the Army of the 12 Monkeys. But each trip back in time brings unpredictable consequences, and the line between good and disaster becomes increasingly blurred. The series not only plays with the theme of time paradoxes, but also draws you in emotionally, showing how difficult it is to fix something that may be unsalvageable. 12 Monkeys is a story of a struggle against fate, in which the greatest enemy may be time itself. Survivors. The world didn't explode in a bang, it just went silent. In 2008, Survivors, a mysterious virus destroyed almost all of humanity in a matter of weeks, leaving behind only silence, ruins, and a handful of those who happened to survive. This is not a battle against monsters or great power battles. Here, everyday life is about getting water, finding food, and surviving another night. A group of ordinary people, uprooted from their former lives, must learn to function together in a world without rules. Every encounter with a stranger is a risk. Every decision can cost a life. Fear, hunger, and despair turn into daily challenges, and hope into something to fight for every day. Survivors is a raw, emotional story about how thin the line between civilization and chaos is when the world ceases to exist. Before we reveal the final and possibly the best title on this list, let me know in the comments which movie or series impressed you the most. Subscribe if you're into this kind of content, because the apocalypse is just getting started here. And now, it's time for the true hidden gem. Day 5. There was no warning, no time to react. People just fell asleep and didn't wake up again. Day 5 is a post-apocalyptic series with a unique concept. A mysterious plague kills anyone who falls asleep. Overnight, the world ceases to exist, and those who happen to be awake must face a new, brutal reality. The main character, Jesse, wakes up after a drug haul and discovers an extinct city. Together with a group of survivors, he fights time, fatigue, and his own body, which demands sleep. Every hour is a challenge. Every moment of inattention can kill. Day 5 is an intense, claustrophobic thriller that turns sleep into a deadly enemy and doesn't give the viewer a moment's peace.